the mental game. This is a brand new series by Trade.Set.Go where we're going to be talking about not just boring old psychology. We're going to be bringing you something brand new that you've never heard before, but it has the potential to shift your mindset towards success. In this series, you will learn how to rewire your personal nervous system, specifically when it comes to stressful events like trading. Now, imagine yourself being in a stressful scenario such as a big drawdown and not being in panic, being able to hold calm, being able to trade not out of emotions, being able to trade in a manner that a professional would do. Take the hard decisions, close the trade when you have to. This is what it's all about. Through this series, you will leave with the skill set required for you to be the best version of yourself, and I'm super excited to deliver it to you. Without further ado, we are talking about NLP. What does NLP mean in the first place? Why is it useful for us? We're going to go all in depth in this next 10 minutes. Neuro-Linguistic Programming. Neuro meaning nerves, so the nervous system. Linguistic meaning language. And programming, the good old computer programming. We're going to see how that fits together. If someone asks you what NLP is, it is the science of modeling excellent, brilliant minds. And the modeling will be the foundation of this series. We're going to find out how can we model excellence and how can we bring that into our own ecosystem. Two men and one question. We have to go to 1976 in Santa Cruz, in California, on the top of a mountain, where two amazing individuals called Richard Bandler and John Grinder came together to answer one question. What makes excellent people excellent? And we have the same question in trading. How do some people perform at their best and others don't? Why does that 10% perform so differently than the 90%? What they discovered and what I'm going to give to you today changed the field of psychology, coaching, development, and high-performance trading forever. Now, these two individuals are very special because one is a pure mathematician and the other is a linguist. A linguist means that he studies the science of language. He can listen to the way we talk to ourselves and decode patterns and how these patterns change under different environments. Now, Bandler and Grinder didn't actually develop these techniques. They extracted them from the best minds alive and from different areas. So we're going to talk about Fritz Perls. They looked at the awareness, presence, and wholeness. Virginia Satter, who was a family therapist, they focused on the communication and change. And finally, the one and only Milton Erickson, who brought to us the unconscious mind and the pattern interruption. Now, this might be all difficult words for you, but you're going to be knowing exactly what we're talking about. And you're going to have a specific tool that you can use to improve dramatically your life and trading. Now, let's talk about NLP and what it is. NLP is two things. It's a modeling system and a change toolkit. So in terms of the modeling, we're looking at observing, extracting, and replicating. What do we see from the professionals and the experts of the field that we can model in our own performance? And the change toolkit, we're talking about processes that we can actually use, physical processes that you will be able to learn to do on a daily basis to get there. We're talking about anchoring, reframing, reprogramming. All these things are going to become very familiar by the end of this series. Now, I want to talk to you about the core principle of NLP and what we call the map and the territory. Now, let's think about trading and the market. The territory is the ecosystem or the environment of trading. Imagine like every single information that exists about trading in the markets, it's around the territory. Now, the map for what you perceive that territory to be, and if we talk numbers, the territory or the information that is available to you, we are talking about 2 million bits of information that your brain can receive as information per second. So 1, 2, 3, that's 6 million data points that could be perceived from your brain. Now, our amazing tool, our brain is incredible at being able to make sense of the environment, even though we have so much information out there that's hitting our brains. So instead of looking at the whole market, your brain can use different tools to create meaning. And one is deletion, distortion, and generalization. We can delete information, and I'll explain to you what that means, distort information, and generalize to make meaning of the markets. Now, when you hear territory, I want you to think of the whole market. And when we hear map, it's your perception of that market. You, at any second, can receive 134,000 bits of information, which is enormous, but it's only 13% of the entire territory of information that is out there. So now let's transfer into this territory and our perception of the markets. So on the left side, you'll see a lot of balls moving around. That will represent the 2 million pieces of information that is available to you at any moment of time. Now, I want you to focus on one single red dot. I want you to look at it. Okay, now focus on that ball. Out of all this information that we have on the screen, you were focused on the red dot. But if I told you what the top left was saying, where it says the market, your attention wasn't there. For you to focus on that red dot, it distorted the reality that exists. So it deleted information. It didn't need to know about the text, the market on the top left. It distorted reality by blurring everything else and bringing the red dot to your face. And it also generalized. It said, yes, there's some dots there, there's some text there, but I am only focusing on that red dot. Now, on the right side, you can see the information that we have, that 134,000 per second. So your perception of the world, or even the red dots that we talked about, could be your bias, your size, your timing, your trend, your edge, your risk, your entry. All these things that you focus so hard on is the distorted reality of what actually exists out there. Now, that can be extremely useful, but can be also extremely harmful if we're on the wrong side of what that reality does for our performance. So here's the drum roll and the get real moment. This is huge for you to understand, and it can potentially change the whole way of how you approach trading and look at trading and how you develop yourself for trading. I want you to read this a lot of times. Everything we experience is subjective. I'll say that again. Everything we experience is subjective. And that means that everything that we see in the markets, all the edges and all the strategies and every tick that we see in every single candlestick is our subjective opinion of what that world of the market is looking like in that moment of time. That means that everything we feel and don't like about that map of the world, we can change it, because subjectivity is just our perception of what's happening. I'll give you an example. To make it real. Imagine telling yourself that I am the trader who always overtrades and I always blow my accounts. Now, that information and that reality might be your map. What if I reframed that to you and said, overtrading is part of your development. And at some point, that overtrading is going to teach you how to deal with a lot of positions at the same time. It might not feel like it right now, but overtrading has taught you a lot of lessons, which is going to become your foundation to not overtrade in the next couple of months. As you can see, the language I used landed on you differently. One was about your development and your journey and how you're going to become successful. The other one was the destruction about who you are down to your core. And that needs to change, and we have a tool to do so. So I'm in the happy position to tell you that you'll be able to change your map of reality and put it on track for you to become extremely successful. So now let's talk about the advantages that you get by using NLP for trading. First, we'll talk about state management. You will be able to change your state of mind when you're trading. Now, sometimes you might be anxious when you're trading, or sometimes you might be aroused because you're seeing positions going in massive greens or massive reds. And that is probably not the best state of mind to be in if you want to manage out of a trade or even build a position if it's going for you. We're going to talk about resourcefulness. How can you become resourceful in any trading environment? In every single situation that you're going to be in trading, you will have a resource that you can bring up to deal with it. We are going to be talking about behavioral flexibility. How can I change my behavior around different stresses, or what we call triggers? Something happens into the market and in yourself where you have seen it before. That second position gets entered, third position gets entered. Now you're over leveraged, and here we go again. Behavioral flexibility will teach you to be able to get out of those repetitive negative things that you're doing that are hindering your performance. NLP has the potential to improve massively, to leap ahead the opposition because you'll be learning and modeling from the experts. That means that you're going to be jumping ahead everyone who's trying to do this alone. And finally, we're going to be talking about pattern recognition. This is where you will be able to spot your distractive thoughts and behaviors that are holding you back from becoming financial free. You'll be able to interrupt them. You'll not only interrupt them, you'll be able to replace them with positive things that will have an impact in your trading. Now, it's all right saying all this, but just give me some evidence that this has worked. We only have to go back to Bandler and Tony Robbins. If you know Tony Robbins, he was hired by the US Army, and they had a task to improve the sharpshooter program. They had a problem. Before NLP, it would take 4 weeks to train, and only 20% of the people involved, only 20% of the people who were involved succeeded. After a program of NLP, they were able to train the same level at 7 days instead of 4 weeks. And not only that, the people that took the program passed with an 80% success rate. So let's recap a little bit about episode 1. NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, is the science of reprogramming your trading mind. We have certain patterns that we do on a daily basis. We are going to learn how we can interrupt those patterns and replace them with patterns that high-performing traders do. So for the recap, I want you to think that you don't trade the market. You trade your map or your reality of that market. NLP gives you a tool that you can update or change this environment and change the reality of you and the market. And why would we do that? Because we want to tap into your best version of yourself in every single session. So make sure you subscribe and like and join our Discord, because in the next episode, we'll be talking about how your mind creates reality.